This is Recover with Cal, and I'm here to share my journey with you.
This podcast is intended to not only help Callam in his recovery, but also to give hope and support to others who are going through difficult situations in their lives.
Welcome back. This is your host, Callam Over.
Yes.
This is Recovery with Cal.
Handsome host.
And
So handsome.
I'm here with my good friend, Gary Nickel.
Hello.
In our last episode, we looked at moving from City Hospital.
Oof.
It was a rough ride over, of course. Moving from University Hospital over to City Hospital.
Isn't it funny how we can laugh at that now?
Oh,
like
man,
that was
I
like
was so
the
scared.
hardest thing in your life, and now it's like, oh man,
I
remember how
didn't even
crazy
know
that
what's going
was?
on. Yeah.
Sorry.
And you know, like moving forward, that little first like bit in the car.
Yeah, that was your first ride since the accident.
And now I'm thinking like, okay, I want to learn how to drive.
You're ready to drive, man.
So, yeah,
You're not just thinking about it.
We'll
You're
have to
getting in
talk
there.
about that
This is
later
the
on,
beauty
right?
of this show, because you were talking earlier, we have all these episodes. Like, okay, that's about a good for season 1. Season 2 is going to be like the crazy stuff. Cal's first time driving a car again. Cal,
Sure.
first jump he rips on the track, you know what I'm saying? Popping wheelies. There's going to be a lot of really
popping
fun
wheelies,
stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Dude.
Yeah, you're always
I'm very
having to
excited.
pop wheelies in a wheelchair. That's why.
That's probably one of the best parts of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so bringing it back to our last episode.
I want to acknowledge how fun it is to
Yeah,
pop wheelies.
yeah.
That's why you say that. Is it fun?
It's fun. Yeah,
Thank
and you
you.
have to do it all the time.
Yeah,
You got to
it's
practice
sick
popping
moves, man.
wheelies.
Yeah, and it's not just the sweet move. It's for mobility purposes.
Oh.
You're always hopping up and down.
Always. Yeah,
Okay.
you have to pop over so much things.
That's it.
Your back wheels are the most important wheels on the chair.
I totally derailed you there. I just got really excited about popping wheelies.
Yeah.
I apologize. You gonna be able to get back on track?
I think so.
Okay, I believe in you.
Okay, so our last episode we talked about environment of City Hospital and you know, like the healing environment that
It's beautiful.
that I encountered. And this episode I want to start talking about the rehabilitation that was started in there.
Man, oh man.
Now I was in the rehab unit
Bless you, March.
for I think 4 months in the
Sounds about
hospital.
right.
4 months.
Yeah, because you had to get better before you could rehab.
I got better in university.
Yeah.
And then moved over, and then
was go time.
then I was in the
Yeah.
rehab. And it was a long process.
It's as an outsider looking in, man. That long progress to you looked like such fast progress to someone who comes to see you twice a week. Like every time I saw you, like better and better and better. You know what I mean? So for you, it's a slow slog. But a guy that comes in here, it's like, man, last week you couldn't do that. You know, a couple
Yeah.
days ago you couldn't do that. Now look at you. Like it's interesting to note those different sort of views on the journey that you took,
Right.
because you're in it all the time. So of course it's slow to you.
And I started my rehab still in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
So I took kind of 4 rehabs in the hospital. I did psychology, I did speech therapy, I did occupational therapy, and then I did physical therapy.
Dude,
So
That's a lot.
in this episode we'll talk about the first 3,
sounds
and
good.
then we'll talk about physical therapy, and you know in the next one.
Which one is the balloon? Is the balloon a physical one? Out of all your rehabs?
Oh, the balloon.
That's my favorite one.
Okay. So
We don't got to get to it now. I just want to know.
let's jump. We'll
Okay.
just jump right into.
That's one of my favorite
that's
ones for
that's
you.
a funny story for
Yeah.
sure. So that was occupational therapy,
Okay, good.
and occupational therapy. I worked with a really great therapist, Chloe, and the first thing that they teach you is like how, like essentially they're teaching you how you need to do things in life.
Yeah.
Like
Like learning how to live
how to
again.
do things over again. And so I kind of focused on a few things that I'll get to, but the balloon story is they want you to be able to transfer onto things, right? And that's a
Yes.
hard bit. It's like as soon as I was able to do anything like physical, they started teaching me how to transfer from my chair onto different surfaces.
And I'm going to keep jumping in as you go through
you
this,
do
because
it.
there's all these little things that pop up. Like the first time you were like, okay, I guess I need to learn how to transfer now. And it felt like such a mountain for you to climb. You know what I mean? It was such a huge ask. And I remember you talking about like, just like more specifically transferring in and out of cars, because that was like sort of your doorway to the outside world again.
Yeah.
And you were so amped up about it and you were practicing all the time trying to get in there. And it seemed like it would be such a hard thing to do. And then it's just like, oh, I did it. Like, sure, it was hard. You probably biffed a couple times. You have a lot of stories you transfer falling now, but those first couple like times when you were getting in there, mentally, I imagine that was incredibly hard to just overcome that in your head so you can overcome it in real life.
Right. And even like now, I every time I do a transfer, I gotta like take a moment to like set myself up and actually think to myself, okay, like I gotta make this work.
Dude.
Like this gotta be a good transfer.
Yeah.
I'm not at the point at all where I can just like, it's like
roll in, roll out.
Think you just, like something you just do without thinking. Like, I'm going to get to that point, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah,
at
for
some
sure.
point, but I'm not there yet.
It's all about reps. And I always go back to the story when we were transferring you out one day at your mom and dad's place. And you missed on the transfer and landed right on the wheel. And then you farted super loud. And you couldn't stop. And we both just laughed for like a good 2 minutes. Because it like forces the air out of you and you can't control it. So it's, here we go. And then I was laughing. And then I hear your beautiful, amazing family also have a lot of laughs from that because that wasn't the first time that's happened.
Dude, it's so weird. Like
shout out to Teagues over there, by the way. Producer Teagan.
Yeah. Like letting out gas, like farting is too common for me now as a paraplegic.
You don't control it, right? Like,
I've got no idea it's coming. And then when I'm moving around my belly or whatever, like it just always happens. And I feel for like those physical therapists.
Oh
like,
man,
it's like part of their job that like they're always having to deal with like me tooting. I'll just say, oh, excuse me.
Oopsie, my bad.
And they're just like, nah, whatever.
It's a great way to sort of remind people. Yeah, it's not a big deal. You just fart.
Sure.
That's just
but so that's definitely part of the reality of
that's your everyday life.
Paralyzed, right? It's like when you're moving around, you're going to have a toot.
Sometimes,
especially when you're transferring.
Sometimes there was one time you text me, "Hey man, I just want to apologize real quick. I think I might have pooped my pants while I was on the show."
Yeah, that's the other bit too.
It's all good, man. Like you can poop anywhere in here. Like I'm just so happy to have you here. You know what I mean? I think that's how everyone is. Like,
like speaking of occupational therapy, and let's get back to that.
Sorry, great.
That is part of the therapy is like learning how to do your bladder care and your bowel care.
Totally, dude.
Because I had no idea that, like before my accident and, having a complete spinal break and, and anyone that has, a spinal injury, and I'm sure there's other people that fall into this category too, is I have no control on my bladder and my bowel. Mm-hmm. So in my situation, I have to make myself pee using a catheter. And I had to learn that in the hospital when I was there. And I have to make myself essentially poop. Yeah. Right. And that all kind of falls into like occupational therapy.
That's it.
They taught me how to transfer from my chair onto like a commode. Yeah. They taught me, and that was a big thing I had to rep out with my occupational therapist. Yeah. They taught me how to transfer onto a toilet. And still, like, man, to be honest, this morning,
here we go.
I was staying at my mom and dad's, and they have a different commode than I do. Yeah. And it didn't fit over top of my toilet. And I was like, YouTubing how do I like wipe my butt as a paraplegic? I should go back to occupational therapy.
I was gonna say maybe need some more freshening up.
I need some more reps. Yeah, but that's just the reality of it too. Hey, like it's just like there's how do you live? Yeah, and I'm that's part of my reality right now is how do I live in this state? But occupational therapist, that's what I would do every day, dude. So getting back to the balloon story.
Right before I just want to say, do you remember like the wild times we had before you would set timers to go remind you to go pee and to remind you to do these things? So now you have like a schedule and I got to do this if I'm going to do this.
Oh, dude, on my watch now is a countdown. So when I have to go,
that's what I'm talking
about.
My
next calf.
Yeah, right? and before that, like when we first got you in and we were going, it's like, you would hold it and then we wouldn't worry about how long we were going. And all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, that's right, it's falling out because like that's what happens. You don't have control of that. Yeah, it's crazy. So once your bladder fills up, guess what? It's coming out whether you like it or not.
That's right.
Very interesting. All right, back to the balloon talk, brother.
Okay, so the balloon was this was early on in my rehabilitation with occupational therapy. I transferred onto what's called a plinth, which is kind of like a harder kind of small bed that can raise up and down and can do different things.
Okay.
And you exercise on it and you stretch on it. So I'm sitting on this plinth, and the whole concept is, can I balance my body? Because essentially I'm just like balancing on my spine, right? Like
This is
I
crazy,
don't have any. My T5 rake is, I don't have any muscle control from, just
down.
my chest down,
Kind
right?
of like an umbrella inside an umbrella stand.
So like I always had, like I was looking, like practicing, like trying to lean over, how to push my body back and forth. And then I started to reach out, and still reaching out with two hands is difficult for me. I can reach out with one hand, no problem, but reaching out with two, like I'm at some point I'm going to fall over.
Yeah.
So the kind of the practice was, they'd have this balloon, and I would try to keep this balloon up, or push push the balloon back and forth.
They have
man, it was hard, dude.
They have world championships for that now.
What?
Legit for keeping the balloon up. Yeah, there'll be two guys in like a made up living room, so with like couches and chairs and TVs and stuff.
Yeah.
The balloon goes up, and then they just, like, it's wild to watch. Like, these dudes are jumping off of furniture, like full on, keeping this balloon up, and the little touches.
Okay.
So like, it goes from you literally rehabbing with this little balloon game to a whole nother level of like world championships of keeping the balloon off.
Well, that's maybe a goal I can set for myself.
I wonder, maybe there's a chair version, man.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. I'd watch you just crush the competition.
So like when I was doing this exercise, and it was a struggle at that point to just kind of like, reach out, I thought to myself, like, geez, how are people playing wheelchair basketball?
That's it. Murder ball, bro. Wheelchair butt rugby, man. Get that murder ball going.
How are they reaching up and, shooting the hoops and all this sort of stuff? And, I just like, really, you start to have an appreciation at that point, like people are doing something greater than just pointing a balloon. Like, this can be, it's possible. There's possibilities that start to come out. And that's kind of like a good theme that I always kept in my mind, is like, things that I thought were impossible started to become possibilities.
That's it. It's almost like you are like born again. You're like an infant. You have to learn how to live all over. It's crazy to think about that, because like everything you learned up to that point, that doesn't work anymore. That doesn't exist. You have to figure out what your new life is.
Yeah.
And just like anything else, it's like fight or flight, right? Either you quit or you figure it out and you make sure you can keep going.
Yeah. So occupational therapy was great. I still work with them.
Oh yeah. You made so many relationships there, man. Yeah.
Just to figure out how to do things in my life. The other thing that we'll touch on before we move on to the next one was cars. So transferring into a vehicle.
Yes.
And in the hospital, they had like a fake simulator car.
That's so cool.
That you roll up to, and then you practice like getting into it.
Yeah. How many biffs on that bad boy?
I never biffed, but there's a lot of times I never got into it.
Didn't fall, but didn't make it. I gotcha.
But it just opened up such a mobility reality.
Yeah.
That now I don't have to like take a taxi places, like a wheelchair taxi. I can transfer into a friend's car like yours. I can transfer into my my own family cars and that sort of thing. And how I can go places. It's awesome to have that ability.
Yeah. Like, how good did that feel the first time when you opened up that door and you got in a vehicle and you said, all right, check list?
Yeah.
Like that one's off.
It felt awesome.
Like, and I said it before, it's a doorway to a whole new world that at one point you didn't think you would ever have.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
It's great to get to those points, right? And
for sure.
like any way you can get places is awesome. Public transportation.
Yeah, shout out all those.
Like other mobility transportation. Vehicles that they adapt so they can take, chairs into or whatever, right? But yeah, for me, learning that in occupational therapy was a big game changer.
And I wonder how much a simulator like that would cost? Like, I bet you that'd be like a very pricey sort of piece of equipment to
Well,
set up for
yeah,
people.
I think they do have like hand control simulators. This one
Okay.
was maybe set up for it, but I didn't use
Just the
it.
fact they have that is what I'm getting at is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know, to most people, you'd have to roll out to where a vehicle is if you want that true sort of simulated, you know, movement of transferring. But just to have something like, you know, the more I learn about City Hospital too, it's just amazing the amount of stuff they do.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just wild. Oh, is that the P?
No, something else. I'm
No.
not too sure. No worries. Yeah, not my catheter
That's it.
alarm.
No peeing yet.
Okay, so another therapy that I went to
Yep.
was speech therapy.
Here we go. Yeah, that's another thing we never talked about was the fact that your face exploded. You had to learn how to talk again.
It was
Like, that's
so weird,
nuts,
man.
right?
Yeah. People kept on saying to me, "Oh, you sound better, you sound better." And I knew I didn't.
It's positive reinforcement.
So when I had my accident, I have an orbital fracture in my face, and I still it's numb here. So this is a numb part that's still numb.
That's
And I've got nerve damage, and I also have a big gashing
Badass
cut
scar.
on
Hell yeah.
my head.
Your lovely wife
yeah.
loves it for sure. It's like, ooh, that's my badass hubby right there.
Well, Tegan made me a shirt that says you should see the other
Another
guy.
I saw. Had a girl.
'Cause
So creative. Show you
like
how creative your family is. I love them all so
fun.
much.
It's
They're so
funny,
fun.
right? Too.
It's
Like that's like
hilarious.
the
Lightens the
you gotta
mood.
have a sense of humor about
That's
it.
it.
Yeah. So I always felt like I couldn't talk well, and part of my speech was that I had lost. I was talking through my throat.
Instead of your diaphragm.
Yeah, instead of my diaphragm.
Yeah.
And so in my speech therapy, I had to start to learn exercises, how to like use my diaphragm, how to speak more up in my, like up in the, feel like I'm projecting like through,
That's it.
like through the up, I don't
We-
know, the higher parts of my face. Maybe I don't know how you.
We had this
feel
talk
about it.
before when you were going through that, and I sort of compared it to when at one point in time I fancied myself a somewhat decent singer, and so I'd watch these like vocal techniques and these different DVDs because it was DVDs, that's how long
Sure.
ago it was. And one of the tricks that they taught you was to take a pencil, put it in your
Yeah.
mouth, and then project over top of the pencil. So it would emphasize your diaphragm pushing out more because you had to get it over the pencil, and it sort of brought you into that sort of
like
zone.
kind of bring up your voice, right?
Yeah, and it sort of sounds like what you have to do too, but
no,
on like on a smaller
I'm
level.
starting to feel like I'm bringing up my voice right now.
It is, yeah. You're projecting. I'm totally not.
Yeah.
This is how I sound. Don't mind me none. But like, how weird is it to learn how to talk again? Like that would probably mess with the mind.
Thank God I didn't lose my voice
Yeah.
completely, right? And in the rehab, a lot of the people were stroke patients, and they had also had were going through rehabilitation as well with me there, and like voice was a big thing for them
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it was strange because I didn't know if it was gonna be fixed,
Yeah.
right? And
uncertainty.
everything is uncertain at that point.
That's
anyways.
that's like the boogie monster of the whole
Yeah.
situation, right? It's always lingering.
So my exercise was humming. I would hum words. Like they
Mhm.
told me like hum words. So it would be like I had a list of these words that I would read, and then I would hum them. So it'd be like milk, mother, like so strange.
But
But
and it's on such a simple level, right?
yeah, but it actually helped me to start to the humming did something.
Of course.
So yeah, so that was speech therapy.
Man. And like, did you notice as they sort of like, was your base needed to be put back together? Like, was there any sort of operations around that, or did it just sort of like heal up like with the bones?
Yeah,
of
I
disco?
haven't got anything done with my face.
So that's just full rehab.
I was having massages for my face and my scar, and I need to continue to do that. I think that will be helpful. In the hospital, I was also going to the eye center.
Yeah.
Because with my fracture.
Hold on, we can say bye, Teague. Say. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
You take care, girl.
Hey, Dad, I'll come pick you up later.
All right. Love
So
you.
sweet.
Yeah.
Diggs. Love you, girl. Say bye,
Yeah.
Marge.
Tegan's
Good puppy.
always does my road trips into Saskatoon. She's my
She's
driver.
the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would see double,
You were saying
and
that. Yes, double
which
vision.
is weird.
Yeah.
And it's because of the fracture that's happened in my
Pretty
face. So I got set up with prism. So on this side of my eye, there's a lens that's a prism. So
Like in the glasses?
in my glasses, yeah.
So it totally changed your prescription for your glasses.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so it was great to be able just to go like quickly, into another, it wasn't therapy, but a treatment, and it was right there in the hospital, which is great.
Everything's sort of localized inside.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by like having all those different, having that pool that you get to go in and having this, transfer car simulator and all like the stuff you don't think about, right? And it's just all there.
I do have like I one side of my face is I see it more than other people, or I maybe am more sensitive to it. Is that one side is, I don't know, kind of like
We're not doctors.
different, right? It's different.
And enough for you to notice, which makes another thing you have to learn how to deal with.
Right, and it does bother me.
Yeah.
Sort
of a lot of things bother you.
It's like one of the things that kind of is the last thing that bothers me. But I gotta again try to find out, how just living with my new body, right? And
that's it.
And I think that's just an ongoing part of my recovery, and kind of like a mindset that I have to be okay with.
Yeah. I like to compare it to me and my belly that's coming back. I'm getting fat again, like really fat. And I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, oh my God, like what am I doing? Why am I so fat? And then I just like accept it. Like, I guess this is my new me now because I'm getting older and I'm just, learning to deal with it. Yeah. Learning to deal with these things. And I say that tongue in cheek and it came out like I was being super serious. But like the idea being that, you and I, we sit around and we have these little things that we hate about ourselves and, that's part of it. But then you compare it to guys who are literally like, I always love to bring myself back down to reality whenever my brain gets really going. Yeah. Because there's, no matter what situation, there's always someone worse. There's always someone going through way more. And it just sort of helps you bring it back down and be like, you know what? I could probably lose this weight if I really tried.
Well, body shaming is not cool. Like
I only do it to myself, by the way. It's only me in the mirror. Everyone else is beautiful.
But that's the damage. Is it like that person? And I fall into this situation too. Body shaming does not help anything.
It's destructive,
right?
Yeah.
And it's totally. Well, it's not good for a person to think that way, right?
And this is getting back to how you overcome, that new change that you're dealing with. It's like, you have to be positive. That's the motion I'm trying to put forward here. Is you have to be positive and understand that you're okay. Everything is okay. You just got to keep moving forward and keep trying to.
Here's a funny thing with it's not body shaming, but this is the reality of what I found out about. There's a ton of stuff I could talk about my body, but one of the things that I was unexpected was my belly.
Yeah.
So because I'm
my bad.
Yeah, because like where I'm have my break, all my abdominal muscles don't hold.
They don't work.
Right? Like they're not clenching. So I have a perma. I've heard it being called a parabelly.
Yes, you mentioned that before.
Right? So it's like I've got like a little beer belly all the time.
And that's a lot different because you used to be jacked, bro. You used to be 6-pack.
Oh, I don't know if I go that far.
Hard. I know Laura would tell me.
Laura
would tell me all the time. She's like, anytime the washing machine broke, she's like, honey, bring those abs over here. I got to do some laundry real quick. And you're like, fine.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different thing. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. For me to sit here and complain about this when you're literally working with that and loving life and everything is great and you're happy, you know what I mean? It's just it's a motivator to remind us all to be like, don't give a shit about this stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right? I think people really struggle with their own personal body images.
1,000%.
And and especially people that are that I would have seen in the hospital. Yeah. people that have lost limbs, people that have
Mhm.
gone through strokes, people that are now in, wheelchairs, or people that are in power chairs, or any, accidents. Like, uh, the biggest thing is you have to understand you're still loved.
That's it.
Uh,
That's what
and,
saved
and,
me. I
and
always
then,
go back.
and then you got to love yourself, right? And to get to that point is hard,
Oh yeah.
to love yourself
Cool.
again, especially coming out of, like trauma, right?
So much trauma, and that it always goes back. Like that's what saved your life was when you were at your darkest point. Your family told you, "We need you. We love you. Like get it together and let's get through this." Because
Yeah.
it could have gone one or two ways, and a lot of people go through that. And it just comes down to love. Like once you realize how important you were to the people that you loved and how much they loved you back, it's like, okay, I guess I'll just, overcome all the odds and do all this cool shit now. But
Yeah,
they're
and
at
like
that point where if
it's
you
like,
didn't
hey,
have that,
I want to live,
yeah,
right? I want to live.
that's it.
I think it's important to tell people you love them.
I do it too much, I
Right.
think. People sometimes get a little pissed off at me. So I always tell people how much I love them. And it's true. Like I am a
Hey, why
loving
not?
person.
You know,
That's what I do.
I'm sure some people haven't heard someone say that to them
Yeah. You can tell the ones.
in
You
a
can tell the
long
ones
time,
that haven't
right?
been told that somebody
Yeah.
loves them because it's sort of like it's almost weird to them. It's like, hey, I'm not trying to marry you or anything. I just want you to know that I really appreciate you and I love you. I want you to understand that somebody out here cares about you.
Hmm.
That's all it is. Simple little things.
The other therapy we can
Yes.
just like chat about was psychology.
Oh boy, getting in that brain.
Yeah, like so mental health is a big component
Oh yeah.
um, in your recovery, and it still is now for me.
Oh yeah.
So I went to a psychologist as part of my therapy in the hospital, and it was I never had gone to something like that before, but I knew I wanted to go so I didn't fall into
Yeah. You want to get on
depression,
top of it.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that can be, it's good for me to have done that early because they teach you, some coping skills, and eventually, you, s- how to deal with things that are going through your mind. Um, Really, when I went to, it was kind of like just talking, of course, right?
Yeah.
And like my therapist would ask me how my week was, and if anything had happened, and then different things that I would remember that affected me. I would talk about, and then we'd talk about different ways that did I cope with it well? What could I do
Work
different
on it.
next
Yeah.
time? And that sort of thing. One of the funny things that happened in my therapy was, I finally was wanting to open up more. And my therapist was, talking to me about, well, like maybe it's time to, like, because I didn't want to revisit my accidents at all. And that was totally fine with me and her to say, no, you don't need to. But she said, well, what about writing? Like maybe you can think about doing some journaling.
That's it.
And I took it in a very digital format.
You didn't have your padlock on your journal.
Yeah,
Get your little key to
I
open
wasn't
up.
like
Dear
penciling.
journal. Today, my psychologist made me feel like an idiot, so I had to buy you now.
Yeah, so I got to start writing. I like now I do a little bit of writing too, like especially for this podcast. So it
You
is
crush
therapy,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
man.
like
All of this.
let's just say that right now is this recovery with Cal is
That's your journal.
my
said it.
journal.
This
Like
is your journal
this
right now.
is my
Yeah.
my
1000%.
therapy. It's like
That's
when we
it.
come here and we talk about stuff, and
Yeah.
I revisit things, and hopefully like this helps other people as well. But really it started because of I need to continue therapy.
Journaling.
Yeah, like maybe you're all out there, my psychologist, just listening to me. Maybe that's it. So
That's a lot of psychologists.
So yeah, what happened? Hopefully, what happened was
Do not psychoanalyze him, please.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, go ahead.
Or
Sure.
do, yeah. We
Yeah,
don't
please.
really care, right? Let us know what you think.
So I had I decided, okay, I had left social media
Yes.
and I hadn't touched it, and a lot of people were wanting to know how I was doing, and it was really thoughtful of them, but I didn't deal with any of it. I had my wife, work with
Shout
that.
out to your
And so I
beautiful
decided,
wife, yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna do a post. So I wrote up my post, and it was like, uh, it was part of it was revisiting that moment that we already talked about, as when I thought I wanted to die
Yep.
because of what happened to me, and I realized that I wanted to live because, I wanted to continue to be a husband, to be a father, to be a friend,
That's it.
right? Like I realized that, I was loved.
Found your spark.
Like
That's it, man.
that IC week, I didn't know that anymore. Anyway, so that was in my post, and then, I talked about some other things, and then I sent it, and then the next session I had it. I said, "Oh yeah, I did my journal, and I posted it," and I let her read it, and she thought it was, like very thoughtful and very
How
good.
hilarious would that
Yeah.
be? She's like,
And-
this is garbage, dude. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, take some lessons, bro.
Well, what she said was like, she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean for you to like
Oh, so
put it online."
it sort of go like that.
She's like, "That's not what I meant."
It's supposed to be personal,
Like,
not for the
just
world.
to make sure, she did not say, "Callum, I
Yeah.
think you should
Tell the world.
put this out there for everyone to, like."
But at the same time, once you put it out there, how much love did you get back
Well,
from so many
sure,
people,
yeah,
man?
and like I was finally able to like want to make connections,
Yeah.
with, maybe a digital, the digital community that I was part of. I want to make connections with, people that just to know that I was alive.
You were okay, yeah.
And I'm recovering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and therapy was good, man. It was those therapies were awesome.
Yeah,
Maybe another like thing to touch on. I was in the hospital just yesterday for an outpatient appointment, and I saw a brochure and it said spiritual. Like, do you want spiritual help? Or no, a spiritual. It wasn't therapy, but it was like spiritual stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So the other thing in the city hospital, and maybe I can't remember if I've ever touched on this in the previous ones, was like, they also were part of the therapy was if you wanted to, you could work on your spiritual side, be whatever
Whatever
religion,
you want, yeah, whatever you want that
or
to be.
whatever
Yeah.
spiritual life that you lived, there's room for that. So I knew a lot of people were praying for me, and that's something I really appreciated. And being in hospital, I was able to go to places where I could pray, right? And I go to places where I could feel that I was healing spiritually, and I think that helps just the holistic part of
for sure.
your body. You could go for to smudge, indigenous smudge. I did go and do an indigenous smudge. There's a chapel that I would attend, and there's just like just a space for you to heal that way,
Yeah.
right? Even art was around. That was maybe that's not spiritual, but like I could look at it and I could find
Something in it.
I could find something in it.
Yeah.
And one of the most beautiful things that I think has come out of my accident is just an awareness of creation, and I think that's for me that's a very spiritual thing. The other day I was biking, hand cycling, so I'm very low to the ground, and I couldn't believe it, man, how good things smelled. Unreal. I never would have thought
You don't appreciate it when
or
you're not.
smelt it, but
Yeah.
I was just so low to the ground. I'd cycle past like flowers, and it would blow my mind.
Wind in your hair and movement and
So it's just
Yeah.
that I think that's part of that spiritual
for sure.
healing that I was able to have, in therapies.
Yeah, dude.
Now I did leave off one therapy, and we'll get into it in our next episode, and that was
Perfect.
physical therapy.
Yes.
Because that was a huge component to
Mhm.
the recovery at City Hospital.
Another one of
And,
your many angels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. I owe a lot to the physical therapist that I worked with. So let's hit that one up in our next episode of Recovery with Cal.
Sounds great, buddy. I just want to tell you, I love being along for this ride. It's so damn cool. I'm so proud of you. and your family and all this cool stuff you're doing. So looking forward to the next one.
Let's do it.
I've been wanting to hit the mic.